All right, good morning, everybody. Been thinking about this for a little bit. I don't like to just open up a box and start fishing a rod and all of a sudden just start talking about how great it is until I've actually used it a couple times. I think it's fair. Maybe this will help somebody when you get ready to go fishing. Maybe to help somebody when you're picking out rods. Maybe you're struggling with this same issue that I was, and you're just out there having fun, not necessarily tournament or anything, but just out having fun, just trying to enjoy God's creation. So maybe this little rod review will help you. So I've been fishing, bass fishing especially, for a lot of years. Okay. I'm almost 50, and I've been fishing. My dad used to take me fishing, which what we threw was a Rapella, a little jerk bait, and we threw the old purple worm with a firetail. My dad was awesome with both of them. That's pretty much the only two baits he used. That's what he loved fishing with. He used a Zebco 33. He pretty much used the rod that came with the combo for the most part, or whatever rod he could buy. And honestly, we caught a lot of fish that way. But the good Lord over the years has blessed me to where I'm able to upgrade a little bit. Not going to lie to you and tell you that I've paid full price for these things that I have now. The Lord really has blessed me. And I've been able to trade around, and I've had some good friends that I've met here recently that they've been able to share with me pretty good deals on different things that they've run across. So this rod that I'm going to talk to you about today is this G.Loomis e6x. Now this rod right here runs most of the time. It's kind of hard to come by right now. You're not going to be able to buy it brand new. You about have to buy it used. This right here is made specifically for crankbait. This one here is 843C. That's the model number, and it's a CBR. It's a 7-foot medium, moderate fast, 8 to 14 pound line. It says that it'll throw from 1/4 to 5/8. And I'm gonna be honest with you, that 1/2 ounce, that's that little rock crawler I've been throwing a lot. You're seeing all kinds of little videos, or a few videos that I've made here lately. It's got a lot of bumps and bruises on it right now. This little rock crawler, it has quite a bit of pull on it because it has a longer lip. This is the 55. This is the longer lip. They make a smaller one, a 50. I've never thrown it. And they make one that's a medium diver. A medium diver, I have a few, but I haven't thrown it as much. I really like this 55. I like the longer bill on it, because what it does is it gives it, when you're cranking it down, it gives it a steeper angle, so it goes real fast. And I think that a lot of times triggers the strikes. Now, talking about triggering the strikes, can you take any type of bait caster setup or spinning outfit and go throw a crankbait and catch fish? Yes, you can. Can you throw a heavy action bait caster rod and still catch fish on a crankbait? You can. But I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. So you'll see another review that I have in the videos that I've made. It was an arc grinder. That arc grinder has more of a medium heavy action to it. Now it does bend all the way halfway down the gut. Absolutely love that rod. That was probably one of the first in years designated crankbait rods that I had bought. I used to have, a long time ago, I used to have one of the Bass Pro Shop cranking sticks. Awesome rods as well. My favorite rod in that Bass Pro Shop cranking stick was a medium heavy. The medium light, or a medium that I had, it was okay, but I realized not too long ago that the reason why I used to like those medium heavies so much is because of the type of crankbait that I was throwing. If you're going to throw a square bill crankbait, it's got a number 4 hook on it, a little bit bigger hook, it's no problem, because that medium heavy, you need that to drive that hook, okay, into that fish. Little ones are real hard to drive a hook into. You'll see even with this rod, little videos as I catch, you'll see these little fish come off. Well, the reason that happens is there's not a whole lot of weight on there to drive those hooks home. Sometimes they'll hit it with brute force and harder than a big fish, and you'll hook them. But a lot of times you don't. But that medium heavy rod is better for those situations because it's got that number 4 hook, and it helps drive that bigger diameter hook. Now when you get into this rock crawler, the rock crawler has a number 5. Number 5 is just small enough to where it's a good hook to pin those fish, but at the same time it's not quite as flimsy as a little small number 6. Now on those jerk baits I use a lot, they've got a number 6 hook on them. What I noticed on that grinder was that the smaller hooks, and a lot of times all I was getting on these fish was the back hook, and they were barely getting pinned. And I know a lot of times people say change your hooks or change your color of your bait and do different things to it. I just be honest with you, I took a chance when I seen that I had an opportunity to buy this rod, which I'm going to show you the action on this rod, okay? I don't know if I can get this in here, but I'm going to try. And I know it's real hard for you to see this, but this rod right here, I want you to look at the bend that rod has. Now that's quite a bit of bend. You're like, man, I mean, a lot of times people refer to it as a buggy whip. He's like, well, why in the world would you want that? Well, I'm going to tell you what I've learned. And yeah, that's what I said, that's what I've learned. So I've been doing this been bass fishing. I haven't been the best at it, but I've been bass fishing for over 35, maybe 40 years, okay? And I used to just do it just to do it. But over the years, you start to learn different things. I started realizing this crankbait right here, fish doesn't eat it like we think they do, okay? Fish doesn't just come up and overpower the bait and then take it and go on like we would. Like, see, I just grabbed it with my hand, and that's what I do. Here's what a fish does, especially a largemouth. A largemouth has that big bucket mouth, and what he does is he opens his mouth and he vacuums that crankbait into his mouth, okay? So he's coming behind it, all of a sudden his gills flare. You can watch videos on this. His mouth opens, he inhales that crankbait, and then he grabs it, and then he goes to turn. When he turns, it gets hung. I'll include a picture on here of, in my experience, since using this rod, I miss less fish, and the fish are getting the bait deeper because this bend on this rod is allowing it to go back in their mouth. We love catching them. We love getting them in the boat. We love taking pictures with them. Sometimes we love getting them. We take them, we eat them. Some of you guys fish tournaments. I don't fish tournaments anymore. I just go out and enjoy God's creation and just enjoy what's going on. Not talking against you all that do. I'm just telling you, this is something that I've learned, is that ever since I've gotten this rod, and I'm going to tell you something else. Ever since I've gotten this rod right here, I've noticed that they inhale it more. Now, I've experimented a little bit with it. This rod that G.Loomis makes is a graphite rod. This is not a fiberglass rod. This is a graphite rod. Somehow they have put the action into this bait that it's got that moderate fast, that it works just like, and has the same similar type of bend that grinder had, but this action is a whole lot softer. Now it does have backbone about halfway through the rod, which helps to drive those hooks. But at first, it gives them plenty of time. Now, when you first grab this rod and you shake it around, you shake the tip of it, you're like, my goodness, that's just got too much flex. When you grab the rod and you put line on it and you pull on it with your arm, you're like, man, that's just too soft. But I'm gonna tell you something that's interesting. Whenever you throw this little crankbait, okay, you throw it out and you start reeling it, even a deep diver one like this, you'll be amazed at how much of that rod doesn't bend. You'll be amazed that only about the first 6-7 inches of that rod's actually bending. The rest of it's straight, and you're thinking, wait a minute. This bait does pull, and you can feel it vibrating up the line. But this bait right here doesn't overpower that rod. Also, something I didn't expect was whenever you take that rod and you go to throw the bait, I can throw the bait further. I can throw this little rock crawler further than I ever dreamed about throwing it, because of that whip action that that rod has. Another positive that I have is that when you'll see a lot of times in the videos, places where I fish, you got to throw underneath them trees. Because of the way this rod loads this bait up, I'm able to throw that and skip it way back underneath. Even with a crankbait, it doesn't skip the best, and I don't always make the perfect cast. I've hung up more times than I've probably had backlashes. Yes, I get backlashes too. You wouldn't believe how many backlashes I may get, some days more than others. We all do. We all get them. But I'm amazed at how just something as simple as switching the rod. Now, one other little thing I'm going to add to it. Most of the time, I use monofilament, 10-pound test, Berkeley XT, super cheap. You can buy it at most of your big box stores, $6, $7 for 300 yards. Very inexpensive line. Does it work? Yes, it does. But I'm going to tell you something else. The monofilament dulls down on the vibration just a little bit. A lot of times you're hitting a stump or a fish hangs up, kind of hard to determine what's what. As an experiment the last several days, I bought me some Seagar, and this is a newer, I can't remember the name of it, but it's kind of a tan box. They got it at the big box stores, and it's just something they came out with. This is Seagar fluorocarbon, 12-pound test. And I put it on this same setup. You're like, well, why in the world wouldn't you just use 10? Most people most people use 10-pound tests for crankbaits and stuff. I use 12 because of what I reel this through. I'm throwing this into wood. I'm throwing this into rock up against the bank. Anytime that fish has it, I'm checking the line. Most of the times I don't have to, but if I feel any fray at all, I go ahead and cut it off and retie. That 12-pound test gives me just a little bit more strength than that 10 does, and it still goes just as deep. The diameter of this line is a whole lot less than that 10-pound that I use that monofilament. Maybe this will help somebody. Maybe these few little tips, maybe they'll cause you to want to go out and enjoy God's creation a little bit more. Like I said, I've been doing this over 30 years. Still blessed to be able to go out. Still learning every day. Go out and enjoy God's creation. If you don't have these things, you're still going to be okay. Just take the information that I've learned, take it on to yourself, use it for helping you to catch more fish. Share it with others, the more anything. Share the tips with others. You don't have to share the video. You don't have to share. Just share with other people. Say, hey, look, I learned something the other day. I'm going to try this. If you've got too stiff of a rod, can you still use it? Yes. My suggestion is get monofilament line. It'll make up a little bit because it stretches a little bit more. If you got a rod that maybe is too sensitive, you think, oh man, that's just a little buggy whip, put fluorocarbon on it. Fluorocarbon's a little bit stiffer. You'll feel the vibration a lot better through that rod. One other little thing that I wanted to add is you're going to see in the videos a lot of times me fishing, you're going to see me grab a hold of the rod. If I'm hung up, you're going to see me grab a hold of the rod and pull. See if I can put this somewhere so I don't get hung up while I'm trying to do it. I'm going to let out a little bit of line. Okay, you're going to see me reeling along. And most of you probably already know this, but you're going to see me reeling along, and all of a sudden I get hung up. Then you're going to see me give myself a little bit of slack line. You're going to see me pull the line. The rod's going to bend, and I'm going to let go of it. Okay, what that does is that causes it to bow. You're pulling on your line just like you would a bow, just like you shoot an arrow. You're not doing it real hard. You're not trying to overpower the bait. It's another thing about this softer rod. When a fish grabs it and pulls against you, he's hooking himself. When you're reeling along with this softer rod and you hang up on a tree, you're just barely putting those, because you're not rearing back, setting the hook like you would with a jig. It just barely drives those hooks into whatever limb or whatever little branch you're dealing with, okay? In order to get that loose, all you do is give yourself a little bit of slack, pull your rod to where it bends a little bit, and let go of it. And what that does is that shoots that line all the way down to your bait and backs up that bait just enough to where it'll get away from whatever it's doing. Doesn't always work, but you'd be surprised how many times you don't have to stop fishing and go to the bank. You just pull that line back, let go of it, it'll shoot that bait off, and you go up and pick it up and you go fishing. Anyway, that's just a tip. This is what's working for me. May not for you. Either way, thank you very much for watching. Hope you have a blessed day. I got videos after this right here, a few fish that I caught the other day. Lord bless you all. Y'all have a wonderful day.